Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. Today, we're going to be discussing the Big 12. I'm going to be making my Big 12 predictions, and at the end of the episode, we're going to be talking about Big 12's future. A lot of talk between the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Who can poach from who? Can the Big 12 entice one of the four corner schools of Arizona State, Colorado, Utah to come into the Big 12? I'll give you my thoughts on that. But to start out with, I'm going to give you my predictions of the Big 12, starting with number 10, going to number 1. And going to be a little surprise at number 1. The team that I've got winning it all, I think, is being completely devalued by Vegas and all the people who make these predictions. But let's start with the team number 10, another team that I think is being devalued in these predictions. Although I've got them finishing 10th and last place in the Big 12, I've got them winning 3 games this year, and that is the Kansas Jayhawks. Brilliant coach, legend at Whitewater, Wisconsin. Great coach at Buffalo. Now he's building the program at Kansas. And as I watch people talk about the Big 12, they talk about how, they got a decent offensive line, but they still struggle to run the ball. They've got running back Neal, but they've got somebody coming in there that I think people outside the Big 10, people outside of the Gopher community, they just don't quite understand what Kansas got in the transfer portal. And that is running back Kai Thomas. The guy broke records at Topeka, Kansas, as a high school. He comes to the University of Minnesota. P.J. Fleck was able to win a huge recruiting battle with teams in the Midwest to get Kai Thomas. Minnesota Gophers are always pretty much very deep at running back. So he didn't play as a freshman. Last year, as a redshirt freshman, he comes in and plays a lot of snaps for the Gophers because the Gophers lost Mohamed Ibrahim, a great running back. Then we lost the backup Trason Potts to an injury. Kai Thomas comes in, and as the season goes on, the game got slower and slower for the young man. He dominated at the end of the season, playing Big Ten football. He runs over 100 yards multiple times. Runs over 100 yards in the bowl game against West Virginia. The guy is a stud. And he transferred. It was a hard loss for Gopher fans, for me in particular, because he's a beast. Kai Thomas is a beast. He's going to Kansas. And Big 12, buckle up, because this guy's going to have a big year for the Kansas Jayhawks. So I got Kansas winning 3 games. I got them finishing 10th place. I think they can get 9th place. I think they can get out of the bottom of the Big 12. Because in 9th place, I've got Iowa State. I think they're taking a huge 3 steps backwards. They got a great coach. I understand that, Matt Campbell. But their window to get to the Big 12 championship game was the last 2 years, and they didn't get there. They lost their quarterback from last year, Purdy. They lost Breece Hall, and Breece Hall, their running back, outstanding running back. Now he's in the NFL. He did a lot for that offense. He did a lot for that passing offense. The Big 12 defenses had to try to deny Breece Hall from beating them. And that gave openings for the rest of that offense. I completely respect Matt Campbell and what he's doing at Ames, Iowa. Great program, great fan base. But their window was last year and the year before. They've lost a lot of veterans, a lot of snaps, a lot of experience on the defensive side of the ball. They will come back. If Matt Campbell sticks in Ames, Iowa, they will come back. They will compete again. They will move up the Big 12 standings. But this year, man, I see them falling way back. And I see there might even be an opportunity for Kansas to get out of the bottom of the Big 12. I'm very down on Iowa State this year. TCU, I think there's going to be a tough transition. I got them finishing 8th. When you have a long-time head football coach like Gary Patterson, incredible, successful head coach like Gary Patterson, it's hard to do that transition. It's going to take a while. Dykes, the new head football coach, is coming in. I love Max Duggan. I love their quarterback. TCU in Minnesota was in a recruiting war for Max Duggan. I thought Minnesota was going to get him a few years ago. He's a gunslinger. He's from the state of Iowa, right on the border there of Iowa and Nebraska. He's had a lot of injury issues over the years, so that's what's held him back. I just think overall, it's just going to be a tough transition for TCU. It's going to take a while. So I got them finishing in 8th place. Texas Tech. I got them finishing 7th, but they could finish anywhere from 7 to 4 to 5. Complete wild card. Who knows who's... I know people believe that there's going to be this huge quarterback battle. I don't know what the latest word is out of Lubbock, Texas, but they got to go with Donovan Smith. I mean, he's got the upside, right? I mean, he's the guy, right? He's got to be. So I'm just kind of, if I knew Donovan Smith, if you guys could tell me in a live feed that yes, Donovan Smith is going to be the quarterback for Texas Tech, I'd probably move them up, but I don't know if he's going to be the guy for game 1. So they got a tough schedule. I know they got a tough schedule as well. I think they play 4 at home, 5 away. I think they've got one of those schedules in the Big 12. So I got them 7th. But, man, I could, game 1, game 2, after game 1, game 2 of the season, I will know a lot more from the Red Raiders. Number 6, Kansas State. Adrian Martinez, the quarterback, transfer from Nebraska. I don't see it. Guys. I mean, Adrian Martinez is a good young man, tried really hard at Nebraska, but we saw, as Big Ten fans, we saw Adrian Martinez make some great plays, but at the end of the game, when it's counted, he makes the mistake to lose. The reason I got Kansas State number 6 because of Deuce Vaughn. They got a good defense, really good head coach, done a great job at Manhattan. I mean, can Adrian Martinez flip the switch? Can he quit making those bad decisions late in the game? Can he quit turning over the football? I mean, that's the key for Kansas State's season. I'm glad Adrian Martinez left Lincoln. I'm glad he's given himself another chance, another season. Somewhere to play away from Scott Frost in Nebraska. I think things got a little toxic between Martinez and the coaching staff at Lincoln, Nebraska. Martinez needed a new start. And Kansas State's a good place for him to go. I'm rooting for the guy. It's one of those things where I have to see it to believe it. Just don't make the mistakes. Kansas State thrives on not making mistakes. So let's see if the coaching staff at Kansas State can flip Martinez into being a winner, making those decisions late in the game to win the game instead of to lose the game. So I've got Kansas State number 6. I've got West Virginia finishing number 5. Vegas sure doesn't seem to like them. A lot of their win totals are 4.5, 5. I've got them winning at least 7 games. JT Daniels, the transfer quarterback, he's getting a lot of... I don't know. I think people are undervaluing him as well. I know he has to stay healthy. He has a hard time staying healthy. I like their running back, Mathis. I saw some good stuff from him. Minnesota played West Virginia in the bowl game last year. Minnesota pushed them around a little bit, but Minnesota had a huge offensive line. They pushed everybody around last year. Neil Brown has done a good job of building the defense and the offensive line. They've got an improving, experienced offensive line coming back this year. I know they lost some players on the defense. They got that great cornerback, Woods. I think I think they're going to finish in the top half of the Big 12. I think they're going to have to for Neil Brown to secure his job going forward, but I think they're going to do it. I think West Virginia is going to finish in 5th place in the Big 12, and that brings us to Texas. Texas is the favorite to win the Big 12 in Vegas right now as we speak. Texas is not back. I mean, I'm surprised I even have them at 4. I could have had them back at about 6th place. I know they got this young, great recruit quarterback transferred from Ohio State, Quinn Ewers. I get it. I understand it. They have got a great wide receiver. Xavier Worthy was fun to watch last year. As a true freshman, he's going to be dynamite this year. They got a great running back in Robinson. So why am I so down on Texas? Why don't I have them winning the Big 12? Because their defense is just so horrid. Now I'm contradicting myself, because in the last episode I've got Texas finishing second. I got Tennessee, the Volunteers, finishing 2nd place in their SEC division, and they've got a horrible defense. So I'm contradicting myself, but Texas, I've got to see it to believe it on the defensive side of the ball. I've never seen so many missed tackles in my life than when I watch a Texas Longhorn football game. Doesn't matter if it's Sarkisian or the previous coach. I don't know. They just don't tackle down in Texas. So I've got Texas finishing 4th. I know they got a home game at Baylor. I think that's going to be a very important game, and you'll see why as I make my predictions, as I finish off my predictions. But Texas finishing in 4th. 3rd, I've got the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and it all circles back around their quarterback, Sanders. He's got to quit throwing interceptions. Just stop. You've got a great defense. You had a great defense last year. Spectacular. What? 3rd, 2nd in the country in yards per play. Fantastic defense. Just quit throwing the interceptions. Quit trying to make every single throw. He tries to throw it in these tight windows all over the football field. Gundy's a great coach. Oklahoma State came within a hair of winning the Big 12 championship game versus Baylor. They probably take a step back. Most likely they take a step back on defense. I think they lost like 4 of their starters in the secondary. But I still like them enough to finish in 3rd place in the Big 12 in 2022. That leads us to who's going to come in 2nd place. I've got Oklahoma Sooners. Their new coach, Brent Venables, the great defensive coordinator for many years at Clemson. Outstanding coach, defensive coordinator. We'll see what he does as a head coach. I'm excited to see what happens. They got Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback transfer from UCF, Central Florida. He had a great last 2 years for the Knights, Golden Knights. But I think they lost They lost their top 2 guys on defense. But again, their head coach, great defensive guy. He's a first-year head coach. And I usually don't have first-year head coaches in a new program win their conference. So I do not have Oklahoma winning the Big 12. I have Baylor repeating and winning it again. The Vegas line on the Baylor Bears is 8 wins. I don't understand it. They lost some players, especially on defense. I get it. Their coach, Dave Aranda, is a superstar. He's in the right place. He's in the right location. That's where he really should be, in Waco, Texas. The culture change that he has done has been magnificent. I love their quarterback, Blake Shapen. He came in last year, he played against Texas Tech. He didn't play. He came in from an injury. He didn't get many snaps. He's a young guy. I see people undervaluing him, though, when they're making their predictions. Again, the Vegas line in Baylor is 8. I don't get it. I think this guy is a gamer. I know they have they go on the road to Texas. That's a big, big game for them. They do have somewhat of a tough schedule. But I got Dave Aranda repeating as the Big 12 champions. I don't think anyone else does except for Baylor Bear fans. But I am sold, 100% sold on Dave Aranda and that quarterback. Man, he was great. He was great last year. Watch the tapes. He saw the open receiver. He processed the field so quickly as a young, inexperienced quarterback. So I think he's got such a high upside, and I think he's going to blow people away. They got a good offensive line. I think they lost their left tackle, but they got. I think they're going to repeat. So we'll see what happens. As for the future of the Big 12. I think it helped the Big 12 that, just like the Pac-12 or the Pac-10, that ESPN didn't get any media rights for the Big 10 going forward. I think that was good news for the Big 12. It might be a little bit better news for the Pac because the Pac is actually negotiating their media contract right now. They're ahead of the Big 12 on the schedule. Big 12 will be going through this process next year or in the next 18 months. I have heard that Warner Brothers, Discovery Warner Brothers, is interested in getting into the college football live sports field. I think they're going to go after a Big 12 media contract in a year and a half from now. They got TBS, TNT, HBO Max. All that is under that umbrella. I think they want to get into that, into the college football sphere. They want to have more live content. So I'd watch for Warner Brothers Discovery to at least make an offer, make an attempt. They might even do that with the Pac if ESPN doesn't lock them up. As for the potential poaching of the Pac from the Big 12, I think it only happens if the Big 10 does raid the Pac again. And of course, as you know, I think there is a chance of that happening. But if that doesn't happen, if the Big 10 doesn't take a Stanford or a possible Oregon or Washington, if Notre Dame decides to join the Big 10, I don't think there's an opportunity. And I think most people now believe that there's really no opportunity. The difference in the media contract, the money that the Pac and the Big 12 is going to receive in the new media deals is probably pretty negligible. It's not going to be all that much of a difference. It's going to be a few million difference. I don't think that's going to be enough for an Arizona or an Arizona State to say, yes, we would like to join the Big 12. I don't believe Utah has any interest in joining the Big 12. In Colorado, I don't think they'll be joining either unless the Pac gets raided again. I do think the Pac is going to expand. I do think they're going to take San Diego State and SMU. San Diego State, they need to get back into Southern California, because that will tie in Arizona State. In Colorado, they have so many students. They get so many of their students from the state of California. So I think the Pac has to play defense by playing offense and expanding with San Diego State. And I got to believe that has to be part of the media negotiations they're currently having with ESPN. I do hope that the Pac gets out of this exclusive window with ESPN and get on the open market to get bids for their content going forward. But we're hearing different reports on that. But either way, I don't see any movement between the Pac and the Big 12 unless the Big 10 raids the Pac again. And I happen decide on the fact that I think that is going to happen eventually, sooner rather than later. I've given reasons before. I'll go into deep dive in a later episode. I do not see a Big Ten conference of 20 schools, let's say, in the future with only 2 out on the West Coast. I don't see it. I don't see that composition. From what Warren has been saying, what we've been hearing, so we've been hearing stuff around Stanford, especially in the scheduling department, which we're going to talk about later. Don't see that happening. So I think there is going to be a raid. But if there isn't, if I am wrong, okay, if I am wrong, there won't be really any movement between the Pac and the Big 12. So, having said that, if you have liked this content, please hit the like button. Please share the video. Okay, I love it. People have been telling me that they've been sharing the videos with their friends. That makes me feel just fantastic. That's why we're doing this. So please share the video, subscribe to this channel. It'll help me out greatly. I appreciate your time. Until next time, we at Peek Around the Corner, we want to say to you, please, you all take care of each other. Thanks.